Martha Reeves' interview with Rudy Giuliani on This Week with George Stephanopoulos.
With all these questions about Trump's temperament and staying on message, let's get straight to a top advisor to the Trump campaign, former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani. Mayor Giuliani, your friend and a finalist for Trump's VP slot, Newt Gingrich, told the Washington Post this week the current race is which of these two is the more unacceptable, because right now neither of them is acceptable. Trump is helping her to win by proving he is more unacceptable than she is. Is that?
And I got to agree with that one 100%, because they're both unacceptable. I would never vote for Trump, and I gotta honestly say, if the Republicans had somebody decent running against her, I would never vote for her either.
The way you see it?
No, not at all. First of all, 8 points down at this stage. Of course, he'd rather be ahead, but I remember George Bush the first being 16 points down to Dukakis going into September.
Okay, but you failed to mention the fact that he was 16 points down to Dukakis going into September, but that was before the Republican National Convention occurred. After he came out of that convention, he had cut that margin down to 8. He had cut it in half. So we're basically in pretty much the same spot. Clinton's ahead of Trump by 8, and Dukakis after the convention was only behind, Dukakis was only leading the Republican nominee by 8 points after the Republican National Convention occurred. So those 2 points pretty much equate to each other if you take into account the positions after the Republican National Convention is concerned.
So let's, calm down. Everyone should calm down about it. There's certainly every opportunity for Trump to win this election. And I think her comments, Hillary's comments, just don't get the same attention that Trump's do. For example, she lied to a Gold Star mother. She lied to Patricia Smith, the mother of Sean Smith, who was killed at Benghazi, I believe, because of her incompetence in failing to secure that mission. And she lied to her on September 14th, 2012, right at the coffin. She said it was due to a video.
Now, that is not necessarily true. There's no proof of that. That's what the mother of the fallen person claimed. Other people have stated that they didn't hear what she claimed she heard. But that being said, okay, if Clinton in fact did say that, that doesn't necessarily mean that she didn't also believe that it was a terrorist act. The 2 statements are not mutually exclusive.
So I think that's far more serious, or at least it should get as much attention as all the attention that was paid to the comments that were made about the Khan family.
Let's go back to Donald Trump for a moment. He is clearly a man who does not want to walk away from a fight. He does not want to apologize. So how do you keep him on message?
Well, I think he was. I think his reaching out and supporting John McCain and Kelly Ayotte in particular, and Paul Ryan, who had been critical of him, a couple of days earlier, shows that he has the ability and the understanding to realize that there are going to be disagreements, and you've got to be able to reach out to the entire party. I think you're going to see a lot more of that in his economic message. I also think you're going to see it.
All right, let's stop there. He only did that because the fear of God was put into him by the Republican Party, and they probably told him if he didn't step up and issue those endorsements, that they were going to specifically walk away from him.
I'm hitting Hillary very hard. That, she short-circuited, that was a heck of a comment. I mean, first of all, she lied. She didn't short-circuit. She lied last week when she said the FBI found that she hadn't lied. You read Comey's report, he found she lied in about 8 different places. So maybe short circuit is her euphemism for lying, but I don't know, did she short circuit when she didn't protect the Benghazi?
Why do they always go back to Benghazi? Benghazi has already been litigated. Even your own buddies in the House who were after her ass had to calm down on that Benghazi situation and show that she was not at fault. So you're spinning a false narrative.
Compound when she got 20 requests for more help. Did she short circuit during the Benghazi situation when, if we had gotten people there, we might have been able to save Sean Smith and the other CIA gentleman's life?
Mr. Mayor, as you know, there have been about 13 investigations into the Benghazi. I want to go back to our poll. You've said this week that the fundamentals are still in Trump's favor, but look at some of these numbers from this poll. Unfavorable view of Trump, 63%, not qualified to be president, 61%, does not have the personality or temperament to be president, 67%. He now seems to be unacceptable to a fixed majority of Americans. How can he turn that around? That's exactly what I've heard the voters say this week as well.
Well, he can turn it around by doing to Hillary Clinton what the Democrats have been doing to him.
No, that's not how you turn that around. You have to turn it around based on your own personality and your own traits, not by attacking somebody else.
Can say, hey, did she short circuit when she reset the relationship with Putin? And now Russia is, according to the New York Times article today, Russia is in control in Syria. I mean, we turned it over to them. Did she short circuit when she advocated for the overthrow of Gaddafi and Libya is now an Islamic State stronghold? Did she short circuit when she said she's going to raise taxes on the middle class? Well, first of all, she is going to raise taxes on the middle class. I actually think that's the only truthful thing she said in about 3 weeks.
Mayor Giuliani,
Okay, as far as her raising taxes on the middle class, that was not what she actually was supposed to say. That was a gaffe. She was supposed to say we aren't going to raise taxes on the middle class, and that was in the official transcript that she released after she gave that speech. But on video, that's exactly what it sounded like she said, so you have to, take it for what it is.
I want to go back to this again and stick with Trump if we can, because you are on here.
That will be impossible, because every time they go to Trump, Giuliani is going to spin away from Trump and on to Clinton, like a good surrogate that he is.
As a Trump surrogate. This week he was called unfit to be the next commander-in-chief by a very long list of people. Let me read it. President Obama, a group of former cabinet officers, senior officials, and career military officials, a veterans organization with 100,000 strong petition said it on Thursday, and the former acting director of the CIA, Mike Morrell, who is my next guest, said it Friday in an op-ed saying that Trump is dangerous. Does that not concern you?
Doesn't concern me at all. The fact is,
It concerns me.
Find it a lot more concerning to me that Hillary Clinton was extremely careless in the handling of national security information. Not just one or two, but thousands and thousands of pieces.
That's bullshit. Even Comey said that it came down to 103 emails that she dealt with, and 100 were classified after the fact. So we're down to 3 emails, 2 of which were mislabeled as being partially confidential, and one of them that she straight out completely missed. So it's not thousands and thousands, Mr. Giuliani. You're inflating stuff again to make your guy, well, obviously to make her look worse than she actually is.
Of national security information. I'm a former federal prosecutor, former associate attorney general. If I had done that, I'd have been prosecuted. It's a clear violation of 18 United States Code, section 791. What she did were criminal acts. she has displayed
As
the
you know,
fact.
Mr. Mayor, Director Comey said he would have to prove that there was intentionally transmitted or willfully mishandled classified information. Our judgment is that no reasonable prosecutor would bring such a case.
And many reasonable prosecutors have come to the conclusion that they would have brought such a case. I would have brought such a case, and I would have won such a case. And I've prosecuted cases like that in my years in the Justice Department.
You can't say that you would have won such a case because it would have depended on a jury. So you can't say you would have won. You could say that you would have brought the case. I'll go along with you there. But you can't say that you would have won the case. You could say, in your opinion, you believe that you would have won the case, but you can't say that you definitely would have won the case. That's bullshit.
Hillary Clinton skated because she's running for president. She clearly violated the law. And now, take Comey's words. She was extremely careless with handling national security information. You know, if that's written in someone's FBI background report, they don't get a top security clearance? If she were just an ordinary person, she would be denied a top security clearance because she has proved in her past acts that she is extremely careless in handling national security information. I don't know, maybe she short-circuited when she wiped out 35,000 emails.
Mayor Giuliani, Donald Trump has been raising questions about whether this election could be rigged. You've lost elections in the past and never really said anything like that. Is that an appropriate thing for him to be saying? Do you believe this election could be rigged?
I think what he's talking about is the very unfair media coverage that Republicans get. I know all of those of you in the media don't believe this, but you really don't treat us the same way. The allegations by Mrs. Smith, the Gold Star mother, about Hillary Clinton lying to her got about 1/10 of the coverage that the Khan situation got. Hillary's situation, in which the FBI, in an extraordinary memo, found her to be extremely careless in handling top security information. My goodness, I wouldn't hire a person as an assistant U.S. attorney if that was in their FBI background. We're going to make a president of the United States. Nobody raises that. Nobody makes a very big deal about that. That's not on the news for 5 days, 6 days. So I think what Donald...
There was a reason it wasn't on the news nonstop, and that was your buddy Donald Trump making ridiculous comments and just saying plain stupid stuff. And now you're going to complain that Donald Trump is getting too much coverage, where Donald Trump was basically crowing about all the coverage that he got. Now, remember, he got $2 billion of free news coverage during the primaries, where his opponents basically got approximately 10% or less of that, if you can believe some of the numbers. Some people say his opponents got as much as 20 to 30% of the coverage dollar-wise that he received.
Trump is reflecting is, and I know the media always discounts this because you don't like to get criticized, but you don't treat us the same way that you treat Democrats. Hillary, Bill, Obama, they get the benefit of the doubt. And I mean, if Trump had said something like, I'm going to raise taxes on the middle class, it'd be all over the news. You'd be questioning his sanity.
Well, Mr. Mayor, we will look forward to the speech this week by Donald Trump on the economy. We thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
All right, so that's Rudy Giuliani being Rudy Giuliani. He can't really defend Trump, so he spins it in the direction of Hillary Clinton and goes after her on the same couple of topics, Benghazi and emails. If they didn't have that, I don't know what these guys would do.